It's World Diabetes Day tomorrow, but this comes with its own shocking statistics. According to the WHO, Africa is expected to experience the highest increase in diabetes globally. What's contributing to this worrying increase? Well, to answer that question and a lot more, we've got Dr. Chris van Straten, who joins us this morning as the Global Health Advisor for Clinical Governance at the International SOS. Dr. Straten, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Before we get into the causes of diabetes, perhaps just a broad overview of what exactly diabetes is and how it would affect a person.
Good morning, and thanks so much for inviting me to be on the call. So diabetes, there's different types of diabetes, and diabetes is where the control of glucose, sugar in your body, is not adequately regulated and controlled. And many of us know about type 1 diabetes. That's when your pancreas doesn't make insulin, and insulin is what your body needs to pull the glucose into your cells and use it effectively. And type 2 diabetes is where there's insulin or not enough insulin, but the cells can't bind to the insulin and glucose and put it in. So it's a dysfunctional sugar. If you pick it up early, really treatable. If you don't, it can damage the vital organs, your vascular system, your kidneys, and your vision, etc. I hope that's useful.
Yeah, I mean, you have indicated that there has been quite an increase of cases of diabetes in South Africa, amongst other places in the world. Why are we seeing an increase? And also, it's more amongst young people as well. Is it stress? Is it our lifestyles? What exactly is leading to this increase?
Excellent question. It's complex and there are many layers. So we do know that lifestyle, especially with type 2 diabetes, plays a big role. So if you're eating a lot of sugary foods, a lot of processed foods, not exercising, exercise is key. If you're overweight, your BMI, that's the fancy medical way of saying you've got too much weight, too much fat on your body, then your metabolism doesn't function as it should. You can develop type 2 diabetes, and that's really preventable. In other words, if we eat the right diets, if we exercise regularly, we can make a real impact on that. So the numbers you're seeing in different parts of the world, and we're seeing this globally, but we're seeing it specifically in areas where the lifestyles are changing and people are eating these highly processed meals, not exercising as much, and a more sedentary lifestyle. The other thing that is, we think, playing a role that we don't know the exact mechanism yet is with COVID and people having long COVID. Part of that seems to be a dysregulation, mixing up or messing up, if you like, of how the body processes sugar. So we think there could be a connection there too, and that might explain some of it, but I think most of it, lifestyle. Thanks very much.
Yeah, many of us, like myself, Doc, work many days a week, long hours, and have very little time to go for regular checkups with our GP. So if we're not feeling well and there could be a potential that we find ourselves having diabetes, what symptoms should we look out for before heading over to our local GPs?
Really good question. And by the way, you're not alone. I'm afraid I always used to be really fit. And now I'm kind of struggling a bit because the last year or two, we've all been so busy in front of a computer. My BMI is certainly not what it should be. So good, the symptoms and signs of diabetes relate to the fact that the sugar in your blood is not super high and you will end up being really, really thirsty, but more thirsty than you should be or would expect, and constantly needing to go to the bathroom to urinate. People with uncontrolled sugar also have problems with fatigue, so unusual amounts of fatigue. And I've seen that in friends and family that have diabetes. We first started picking up when, hang on, why is this person who's always so active now over the last couple of weeks or months needing so much sleep? He's so fatigued when this was normally someone that was so energized. So those are the main symptoms. You can also have changes in weight loss, so losing a lot of weight, but unexpectedly. So those are the things that really should trigger you or prompt you to go see a GP. Great question.
Yeah, and then of course, once you are diagnosed with diabetes, it's not automatically a death sentence. You know, those effects that you expressed at the beginning of our conversation in terms of affected vision and other ailments that may occur as a result of diabetes, it's not a death sentence, and it can be treated and well managed if you take better care of yourself. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's such a great point, by the way. So with most chronic conditions, remember, diabetes is just one of many different chronic conditions that people can get. And the great news is very treatable. But one has to pick it up early. So one must go for regular screening or testing, especially if there's a family history or background, or if you've got any of the risk factors or symptoms and signs. So that's a big issue for us, especially in parts of Africa, is we haven't got the level of testing that we would like to see, and they certainly have, for example, in countries like United Kingdom or the United States of America. So that's why we're looking at our numbers here going, oh, we think there's probably more that we need to test. And if you, for example, have type 1 or type 2 diabetes, there's fantastic treatments available. It's challenging. It takes months and years for people to learn how to live with diabetes, but you can still have a very full, very productive life and a good lifespan if you take all the right steps and have the support. In other words, the healthcare, supported work, family support. It's not a death sentence. You're absolutely right with that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chris van Straten from International SOS. We're going to try live a little bit better, you and I, Doc. Get out, maybe take a walk every now and then. Let's get back to the best health that we can, and so must everyone else on the African continent.